Midlifers, welcome to Let's Talk Midlife. I'm the Midlife Maven, your host, Natasha Hardy of Hardy Life, because you deserve a hardy life. This is a podcast for midlife women who want to learn tips, tools, and strategies to get through their second season of life. Have you ever struggled with poor self-care, lack of confidence, having no plan, and the fear of aging? Well, you're in the right place. Press play and let's dive into today's episode. Happy midlife to you. Happy midlife. Welcome back to Let's Talk Midlife. This week we have another phenomenal guest, and this is a really great friend of mine. We went to coaching school together, and she's a phenomenal woman. Claudine Chamante. Claudine, introduce yourself and tell the guest all about you.
Sure. Well, one phenomenal woman to the other. So thank you, Natasha. My name is Claudine Chamante. I am both a coach as well as a therapist, and I help individuals create intimacy and connection through the BEST model, which is how I take them from lonely to beloved, from repressed to expressed, anxious to secure, and triggered to trusting. And it really is a little bit of let's heal the past so we can be present, and then let's design our future together. And, where people are rubbing up against each other, and it happens. We get activated and triggered. Our nervous system reacts. Our mind makes up stories. Our body has all these sensations. And I've been in this work for about 29 years. I consider it still an honor to be on anybody's journey, and I'm delighted to be here with you and your audience talking about midlife and romance.
Amen. Amen. Yeah. One of the things I feel is important about intimacy, relationship, romance is I feel that oftentimes people are willing to jump from one relationship to the next without actually stopping to heal themselves. And so can you speak a little bit into why it's important to heal your trauma, heal yourself, build intimacy with yourself, and discover that before you keep digging into these relationships, looking for something from someone else, usually that you're not even able to give yourself?
Yeah. That you said a lot in a very short amount of time there, Natasha. And I agree with you. I think, one, we've been socialized to look for things outside ourselves. That will make me happy. That will complete me. This will make me feel good. And that's really our conditioning. So we are looking outside, and I was just in session today with someone who's like, okay, I'm a serial monogamist. Like I just keep going, relationship to relationship. And when we don't slow down and look at our patterns, we keep going, I don't understand. It happened again. And I think you said something really key there is what we can give ourselves. And I really come from a place that love is an inside job, first and foremost. That until I can love myself, find myself worthy, I am not going to find it in somebody else. Right?
Powerful.
And that's contrary to Hallmark movies and cards, right? That's not what makes Facebook and Instagram sell. It's, right, we somehow need that person to do it for us, or, right, then I arrive. So until we stop to kind of notice it, now I don't know, Natasha, you and I have talked about this. I don't know that we ever arrive at enlightenment and go, oh, I'm healed. It's time to go into relationship. I think we heal in relationship, but we also need to heal in the relationship to self too. And that's why I hear your pause. Like, where do we pause between relationships to integrate what was my lesson? What was the gifts of this relationship? What are the pains that it got revealed that were, yes, in the present, but they belong to my past? Right? I love that idea that when something triggers now, it's telling me I have something to heal from then. And we get to go back there. It doesn't mean we go live in the past. We get to revisit it. Can I use a metaphor?
Sure.
I can remember in therapy, one of the metaphors that one of my therapists used said, so your parents broke your arm first, Claudine. But right, when you're in relationships with somebody and you go, I have a bad shoulder, I got hurt, and they keep hitting it, right? There's something that's in my past, but there's something here. What's going on in this relationship that I attract someone who has this aim at my injury? Right? I attracted that person, and yet, what do I need to do to go back in the past and heal and go, right? I am not in danger anymore. This arm is actually really healthy now. It's a both and, but I do think if you're right, it stops. We really get to be present to what has occurred and integrate and heal, but really come back to self-love. Oh, always.
Yeah. Interesting enough. Two things I want to dig into from what you just said. Number one is sometimes I find when a person, or even I have gone from one relationship to the next without doing the work, it's like you're expecting somebody to fill a void that you haven't healed. So there's something there that maybe I don't want to look at because it's uncomfortable, or it's triggering, or whatever. There's some trauma there, right? And the other thing in this is we get to truly be in relationship where we're not leaning on someone to give us something that we don't have, because that person can never fill that void in you. It really does come from you. You have to fill that void, and no matter how many relationships you're in or what have you, don't heal that trauma. And I know that was where I was at. I realized that I was in relationship with people and I was emotionally unavailable. I was emotionally unavailable to myself. How could I ever be emotionally available to anyone else? And so I began to do that work to, first of all, be present to the fact that I'm not emotionally available to even me. So no matter what relationship I was in, I was unhappy because I was always picking partners that were not emotionally available. And even if they were, I couldn't receive it because I wasn't emotionally available enough to receive their emotional availability, if that makes sense what I'm saying.
Sure does. I just like to dial back and give some context for a moment. One, let's acknowledge I'm a midlifer. I'm someone who has more years on this planet than I may have coming, right? I'm 55. And so I think there's wisdom we learn over the years. Now I'm saying everyone, doesn't mean if we don't pause and have our lessons, but I think there's a place where we start to say, where am I? What am I creating? Where am I living by default or design? And what is my work going forward? If I say I want to have intimacy, then what is it that I do? What can I do to really have that experience? But I think to set the culture too is we live in a trauma culture, big T and small t. So we have traumatic, chronic events like child abuse and domestic violence and war. And we have the small trauma, but it still has the same impact of moving, of deaths, right? All these other things, new jobs, there are all these things. And when we say trauma, it means it's an event that has overwhelmed our system. We do not have the capacity to process it. And I say that because, right, when I go in and I haven't taken the time and I trigger you, you trigger me, it means in those moments of trigger, I don't feel safe. If I don't have safety, means that I'm not present, like you said. I don't feel seen, heard, valued, or understood in this relationship. We're going to all go into our survival strategies, our protective tendencies. And when that space for you, you said, I'm not present, right? Where are we going to be in relationship with somebody? If I'm in my, my protective shape, then so part of this is I've got to do that healing and that awareness. Like you have self-awareness. So, right, like I can share with my partner that, when people go, you feel this, Claudine, that's a trigger for me. Don't put me in a box. But I know that enough about me. It's very old. I was told how I felt, what I needed. When that happens, so I could say that, hey, listen, timeout, I need a timeout. But if we don't have the awareness in the toolbox, right, we create friction. Yeah. And there's not going to be a lot of intimacy in that friction because, right, I don't feel beloved. I don't feel safe. I don't feel secure. And that really has a pattern. And I say it starts in childhood. We call our attachment style. If you had a parent who was like inconsistent about tending to your needs, one day they're there, next day you're not, you start to get anxious. Are they going to come back? Right? It's what we call an anxious attachment. Or maybe it's the avoidant attachment that it's, they don't come for your needs. You don't know who you can depend on. So you like avoid saying I need because you can't count on anybody. But we're all on a spectrum, right, to secure attachment. The more we know about ourselves, the more we bring into it. And at this point in my life, I know these things. I know I have avoidant styles. And I also know I have secure styles. But how does that blend with my partner, whom I seek? They can't take care of fill that hole, like you said. It's my job. And it's also my job to grieve the hole that was there. I've got to let go of what wasn't versus you've got to fill me. Right? That's why we have so many addictions. It's one way we can create like a full sense of safety quickly. I can count on this thing. It'll give it to me. I can count on you to give it to me. It's all false. Mm-hmm. But I think it is that place we externalize. We have shopping, we have food addictions, we have drugs, we have relationship addictions, sex addictions. It is an attempt to soothe our neurological and psychological system so that we feel safe enough to enter something, but it's like an illusion. It's an illusion.
You said a mouthful. You said that was a lot right there, baby. That's mm-hmm. a lot of unpacking and just really full, rich information. And I pray people go back and listen to it over and over again because there's so much information in your share.
Can I make a suggestion? If people want to learn about attachment styles and relationships, get the book Hold Me Tight by Dr. Susan Johnson. You're going to read it and go, oh my God, that did she read my life? Because there's a dance, right? An avoided attachment and an anxious attachment have a dance. Injured and injured have a dance. And it's, I got to blame you for my problems, or that thing is over there is the problem, right? If we see the patterns and the more we educate ourselves, we can start realizing, I'm not at war with you. I want you to win. You're my partner. But when we're in it, I've got to win, you've got to lose. But right, I think people should take some time to understand and heal and grieve, but understand what's the patterns, right? And how do you, when you know them, you can dance differently with them. So I just, sorry to interrupt you.
No, it's good because I did a interview last week and that podcast is up. I did a podcast with a matchmaker. Oh. And she happens to be, she's a certified matchmaker, a certified relationship coach. And what was so interesting, what she was sharing is that she said, you trying to figure out why you keep dating your ex. You keep dating the same person over and over again. And when you hire me, my job is I'm able to see something you cannot see. I'm able to see the person that works for you better than you can. And my clients have to trust me with this. And I thought that was so interesting because one of the things she spoke to was that people come and say, I only want to do this. I only want someone 6 feet tall and all. They come with these checklists. And she said, you got to be open. That was one thing she said, be open. And she kept saying that, be open. It sounds like a cliche, be open. And then she said, you got to be willing to heal your trauma. And other thing that was so key, one of the first things she said is, I become your best friend. I'm your friend. I become, so her whole thing is to be in relationship with you, to get to know you, to get to know who you are, so that when she's choosing your partner, that she has a full in-depth relationship connection with you, and she has an 86% success rate.
That's
And I
great.
thought that was pretty darn good that she said that. And it was so interesting because this month is so important for me to speak into love, self-love, and about self, and trusting self, and being willing to step out of your comfort zone, and self-awareness, which I feel is the first step in everything you do, especially in midlife. Just be aware of, hey, I'm
We
feeling.
got a lot of history to be aware about. And this, sooner or later, we got to do inventory. Right? There's got to be a place that we look back on the first half of our life and go, what have I learned? If I keep dating myself, I keep having similar results, like, right, it's not chance anymore, and it's not my parents' fault. It's no one's fault. It's like, okay, what do I need now? And I really, I was just having this conversation. If you're not in alignment with yourself, if you're off in your ability to own your self-worth, to surrender and to trust, then you're out of alignment, and you will not have the results that you seek. And alignment can be how you want to define it. To me, it's that my intentions, my words, my actions, right, all are coming from the same place. I can't go, I kind of want this, but it's against my thing, and go there and think it's going to work out. It isn't. It isn't with one of those things, but I think it does start with self-worth or self-love, as you said.
Absolutely. And it definitely, and self-awareness is definitely the key. Just the scratch on the window is self-awareness. And once you keep scratching that and open it and clear it, then it's like you start to see all the things. And you said something very key, which was, you got a whole life to review. What have I learned? I feel like that is so powerful, because most of the time when women get into this phase of life, they're filled with regrets and shoulding all over themselves, what I should have done, and I regret this, and I regret. And you can never learn a lesson. You can't ever learn the lesson. I say that again. You can never learn a lesson if you're busy beating yourself up, chastising yourself, criticizing yourself, judging yourself for missteps, as my 89-year-old said, that you've made in your life, right? They're missteps. But what have you learned? Because if you never stop to pause to say, what have I learned from all of this? You will never get to the place where you can break through, where you can pass through that and be like, oh, this was a life lesson. And you can stop shooting on yourself, stop judging, stop criticizing, stop all of that negative stuff, and see the lesson, and then stand on your experience with the strong legs so that you can move forward from there.
But great transformation comes from pain. And we are not we're more of a pain adverse culture, right? It don't feel good. I wish we changed from joy. We don't tend to change from joy. We do some things like childbirth, for some families really do shift an awareness, but most of us shift from pain. And right, we do need to step up and feel it. We don't die from it, but we do suffocate ourselves with shame.
Yeah.
And judgment of the shoulds is saying I'm wrong or I've done something wrong. That's where forgiveness is. And I love Brene Brown, right? Like, shame grows in silence. Find your community, find a therapist, a coach, a group, right? It's great you're listening to these podcasts. Right? We've got to share the story so that we can move forward. Otherwise, we continue to live in our past and we become prisoners of it. We don't become students of it. Like, right? Life is to be messy. I don't remember anyone telling us it wasn't going to be. It's clean cut and you get it all figured out. It's why I love Father Richard Rohr. We really fall forward into our next part of our lives when we learn with grace, when we learn with compassion, right? That yes, we are perfectly flawed, and we have an amazing life. But if we can't give that to ourselves, and it's done with the criticalness, the critical parent, the judgment, it will hold us back. Because I say this often to my, like, you've seen this on Facebook probably, right? Way you talk to your plants makes them grow, then why would you talk to them negatively? But right, we often think somehow we're going to change from our negative self-talk. All we're going to do is cement the evidence we hold against ourselves. We're not going to free ourselves. We're going to cement it in and say, see, this is why, this is it, versus, okay, now what? Now what?
That's beautiful. That's beautifully said. And to your point, we get to be perfectly imperfect. That's one of the things I always say. I get to be perfectly imperfect. Just because I fail doesn't mean I'm a failure. I'm failing forward, right? And then the other thing I feel like for women is a huge thing, because we grew up in a society where we're told from very young, be nice, be good, don't upset no one, but don't let no one take advantage of you. Be this, but don't be that. Don't be too this, but don't be too that. And it's just so confusing. By the time you reach this stage of life, there's all of these kinds of conflicts whirling around in your head until you get to a point. Like, I feel like a lot of women get to a point where they're just like, hell with it. I'm just not I'm just not putting up with anything anymore. I'm just, they get there, and in them, or they stuck and they want to get out of that and they're not sure how to. And that's where the coaching comes in. It's like they get to a place and there's things for them to do, but they're not sure what to do, but they know what they've been doing hasn't been working. And I think what's so powerful for me personally, I remember when I used to walk down the street and have all this negative inner dialogue just going all the time. And I love now when I walk down the street or I'm somewhere and I go, you are amazing. Girl, you are just doing the awesome thing. Look at you. You just got it together today. Isn't it nice and sunny outside? It is so, I mean, the positive talk is so powerful and it feels good. It's warm. It's embracing. It's cuddling. It's cuddled. It's loving. It's kind. And so I remember when we were in coaching school and Betty used to say, be kind and gentle to yourself. And that was so far-fetched for me. I could not even fathom what that was. And now I live into that. Be kind. Anytime I'm doing something new, just be kind and gentle to yourself. I became an empty nester again. I'm just like, just be kind. And you're not gonna, the child has walked out the door and you're not just going to get back into the life you had 5.5 years ago. That was a real.
No, what I find it's interesting is a lot of my clients, when I ask them to tell me something that went well or something they want to acknowledge about themselves, it's always with conditions. I did a really great job, except I could have done da 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 da. I really am proud of myself for doing this, but I should have been able to do more. And that ability to give and and take away is so in our own conditioning, because we have this conversation about being too boastful, about being selfish. We've added all this extra meaning, as if it means you're full of yourself or you're not considerate of others. But I think when I have clients who have a hard time with that, I say, talk to yourself like your younger child needed to hear. And that always changes it. Like, it will be in the middle of the session and I'll say, what did you need to hear when you were 5 years old or 7 years old? They're like, the client I just had said, I needed to know I wasn't a bother. So what do you need to hear now? Now I accept you and I want to hear everything you have to say. And it brought her to tears. It's like she's been waiting for 37 years to hear that. But she's the only one who can give it to herself now. And now she has that. she can give it to her husband and she can give it to herself. Just like you give it to yourself walking down the street, right? Think about the power of that. Like, I'm awesome, I'm amazing. You always have that, like, right? I'm amazing, and so are you. Because you feel it and you give it to others generously. But if we haven't been given and we don't give to here, we're so limited in our experience. We're so blinded with the capacity of this world and what's possible. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I think that's so beautiful because I realize just listening to people that I'm around, they say these negative things like, oh, I'm stupid, or I'm crazy, or I'm this. And I'm just like, that was dumb, or I'm so dumb, or these kinds of things. And it's just like, no. And I'm not perfect. I don't have a complete handle on all of this. I just want everyone to know. But I definitely do practice fortifying myself with positive self-talk. It is, I do the mirror work, I work on it, I gratitude. It's like, it's a muscle. You gotta work it. It's not going to just show up. Just like you've practiced for years having that negative inner dialogue, you have to practice shifting into that positive dialogue. And it is a muscle. You must work it. Now, before we get ready to wrap up here and hop off, because you're going to come back. I know you got to come back because we just scratched the surface here.
We're happy to.
And we want folks to write in and ask questions and all of that. So we can have questions that we're answering for the audience. What kind of techniques you would give? Because today we're really talking about individuals, right? But what kind of techniques would you give an individual who want to improve the way they feel about themselves? So their self-awareness, their self-love, their self-respect, their worthiness. What is a technique or two you would give?
So I think there's some general tools, and then there's ones that you take and you have to tailor it. So I'm going to speak generally, but right, if it's about self-worth, right, I always question, because you and I both come from a place that our language creates our reality. So if I'm not owning my worth, then I'm creating an experience of my unworthiness. So, right, I'm inherently worthy. I need to be able to say that to myself. I'm worthy of abundance, I'm worthy of love, that I need to hear it. But say it even starts at a place of, I need to feel safe. So how am I feeling safe? How am I regulating myself? Because if I'm all this inside or shut down or defensive, right, if we think about that, then I am not present to engage with you. So one place I start at is, what is that for you? Right? I'm a big tapper. I get present to my five senses, what I can feel, touch, smell, hear, taste is another way, is bring me here. Tap on my body, acknowledge the incredibleness of this body. So I think there's starting there is a gateway. Then once I'm present, then what is it that I want to experience? If it is about worth, I think the mirror work is great. I think there's an affirmation each of us probably gets to and wants to hear. Now, often I will tell you, I've been doing this 29 years. Natasha, you know this, majority of people will say, I'm not good enough. It's blanket. I'm not thin enough. I'm not smart enough. I'm not this enough, or I'm just not enough. So if that is, right, saying I'm enough may work, big across your mirror, reciting it several times, but it may be deeper than that. So if it's a unique statement you need to hear, or I often say this, we have one core belief. If my core belief is I'm not good enough, then what's my counter affirmative belief? So for me, it's I'm divinity. Because my not good enough had me very crumbled because of my body size, all these other conversations. So like I go back there when I am activated or I am in question of myself, like, oh no, I am divinity. I am worthy and I am in divinity. But that's for me. It may not work for most of your listeners, but that, right? So I think there's a place of getting grounded, safety in our body. What do I need to hear? What didn't I hear? Saying things like that. Bringing presence to our body is also really important. And I also would say this. We all probably have one trusted friend or family member, maybe two. I would say to them, tell me something you see in me in my highest version, and write it down. So they may say, you're full of integrity. You're bright light all the time. You're humorous and loving. Write that down. Because you have just been handed a mirror of what and who you are. Someone saw something in you because you have that experience in them, and they were able to see because they have it themselves. And if you can't believe what you say to yourself, then believe your trusted friend. So I often will have my clients ask two people whom they trust. And when they come back to session and they'll say, my son said this, my husband said this. Do you believe them? Yeah. So it starts to build a repertoire, a pond, a reservoir of, I can't deny this. It's not comfortable. I haven't worn this. I've worn all the negative, but we have at least stuff to start to play with, affirmations and possibilities that we didn't have before. So that would be some of the things I would start with, cultivating, right? This is like farmers. We're seeding and growing and harvesting all the time. So what worked for me one time may not another time. And they go, I tried it once, Claudine, it didn't work. Really? You spent 50 years telling yourself the other stuff. You think it was going to change in one time? Like you said before, it's a muscle. And can we give ourselves the grace of saying, here I am as a beginner. I'm on the journey of self-love today. Yes, at 55, at 70, at 60, it doesn't matter. Right. And I will say this, we've always been on the journey of self-love. We didn't just get on the journey of self-love. It's you're starting to own your magnificence more and more. And that gives you a bigger window in a bigger playground. Go enjoy the playground. Gosh, we're made of divineness. Like go have the pleasure with it.
Exactly. And I appreciate that. And I'm sure my listeners will appreciate that, because that was golden to ask two people what they see in you. And, I just to share, I remember when I did transformational work and the class ahead of me, they would always come up to me and say, you're amazing, you're amazing, you're amazing. And I would think, what do they see? Like I was in disgust, right? What do they see? I don't see what they see. And they kept doing it, kept saying it to me. So I started praying and I started saying, God, let me see what they see. Let me see what they see. Let me see. And I just prayed on it. And then finally I started seeing what they saw. And because when you come from an environment that's been so toxic, so negative, and been surrounded by people that have not seen your light or dimmed your light or don't want to see you shine and fill you with all those negative things, it is very difficult to begin to wipe away the mud and the toxic and all the crap, to begin to see how wonderful and brilliant you are. And then when you begin to lean into that more and more and more, people are those negative toxic people will fall away, and you will start attracting more and more people that want to see your light shine. And I can tell you that from experience.
I completely agree with you. I completely agree. And if we have a chance to talk another time, I think you bring up, it's really also what's the shadow work that we all get to do. Right. And we all, like, I have clients like, nope, just want to talk about good stuff, Claude. I don't want to feel good. I don't want to do any of that dark work. I don't want to, it's like as if it's a mystique. We all have it. It's like we have light and dark, right? We have masculine, feminine energy. We have duality within us. Like, embrace it. This is who we are. It's a wonderful thing. But I do agree. It is that opportunity to, say it until you believe it. It's not fake it until you make it. I'm not really a fan of that. We're really breaking patterns and conditions, and telling ourselves a different story. And we know neurologically this has got foundation. We have been hardwired to that negativity, or to whatever it is. And we're not even to label negativity, to whatever that story was. When you start to tell a new story, and you want to turn a different way, your body and everything's going to be like, nope, it's a flat tire. That doesn't work because it's not used to it. It's not comfortable. It's not familiar. But the more you make that different turn and make a different choice, you wire it more and more and more until it becomes your default. And the other one loses its charge. And you're like, you're amazing. Like you can live in that and go like, yeah, I can live there. Yeah. So I'm glad you're wired to your amazingness now.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. And thank you for sharing. This has been so awesome. I miss, we used to be on Clubhouse together. So I totally miss our Clubhouse meetings that we did, and we would have great rooms together. And but this is great. We're shifting to podcasting, and I'm gonna see, maybe I can have you back next month for Women's Month.
Wonderful, right? And if anyone wants to contact me, IamClaudine.com. Always open to free connection calls as a way, an opportunity to see what's up, right? As both a coach and a therapist, I have two very different approaches, but I'm always happy to speak into, I think there's something about empowering women to really own who they are. I mean, I'm not saying men aren't, but being a woman myself, what, divine goddesses we are. So always happy to be part of this conversation, Natasha. So thank you.
Yes. And please spell for the guest your name. Claudine.
Claudine is CLAUDINE. IamClaudine.com. Last name Shermante, let's be honest. All right. I get it. It's not the common phrase.
Where can they find you on social media?
It's really Claudine Shermante. My first name, last name on Instagram and on Facebook. And that is CHIARMONTE. It's easier to go to I Am Claudine. Right on my website is all my handles. You could just click there too. The last name is a little bit more burdensome for some people.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, Claudine, for being a guest and sharing your 29 years of wisdom with us. We so appreciate it. And until next time, y'all, thank you, Claudine.
You're welcome. Thank you, Natasha. Be well.
Thank you for listening in today. You could have been anywhere and you chose to be here, and for that, I truly thank you. Remember to like, subscribe, and leave a review at the end of this podcast. Follow me on Instagram and TikTok at Hardy Life. That's HARDEE Life. Also, you can catch me on LinkedIn under my name, Natasha Hardy. Remember, if nobody's told you that they love you today, let me be the first to say, I love you, and there ain't nothing you can do about it. Go be amazing because you are. Until next time.